The port of Tema in Ghana is a bustling hub of international trade. Ships from around the world arrive daily, bringing vital goods to this West African nation. But in recent months, the port has become the center of a scandal that has rocked Ghana's government. Over 1,300 shipping containers filled with crucial electrical equipment have vanished. These containers, destined for the Electricity Company of Ghana, simply disappeared from the port. Their disappearance has sparked outrage and a demand for answers. Mustapha Gbande, Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, is leading the charge for justice. He is calling for the immediate arrest of 3 prominent figures. Gbande believes these men hold the key to unraveling the mystery of the missing containers. The 3 men are Alexander Afenyo Markin, former ECG Board Chairman, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, former Energy Minister, and Samuel Dubik Mahama, former ECG CEO. Each held a position of power within the ECG and the energy sector. Gbande's accusations are serious. He alleges that these men are responsible for the disappearance of the containers. The missing containers were not filled with ordinary goods. Inside were vital components for Ghana's power grid. Transformers, cables, and other electrical equipment essential for keeping the lights on were packed within those steel boxes. The disappearance of these materials has had a direct and negative impact on Ghana's power supply. Blackouts have become more frequent, and businesses are struggling to operate. The economic impact of the missing containers is significant and growing. The people of Ghana are demanding answers. They want to know how such a large-scale theft could have occurred right under the noses of those entrusted with their nation's well-being. The missing containers represent more than just lost equipment. They represent a betrayal of public trust. The scandal has shaken the government to its core, and the calls for accountability are growing louder by the day. The disappearance of the ECG containers has brought to light a deeply troubling narrative of mismanagement and potential corruption within Ghana's energy sector. The accusations leveled against Afenyo Markin, Dr. Prempeh, and Mahama paint a picture of an organization plagued by irregularities in its procurement processes and a blatant disregard for proper oversight. These allegations, if proven true, expose a systemic failure within the ECG, allowing for the alleged theft to occur and potentially implicating high-ranking officials. At the heart of the scandal lie allegations of procurement irregularities. Critics allege that standard procedures for awarding contracts and procuring equipment were routinely ignored or manipulated. Contracts may have been awarded without proper bidding processes, potentially inflating costs and enabling unscrupulous individuals to profit at the expense of the Ghanaian people. This lack of transparency and accountability created an environment ripe for exploitation, where the theft of over 1,300 containers, sadly, could be perceived as the inevitable outcome. Further fueling suspicions are claims of widespread mismanagement within the ECG. Critics point to a lack of proper inventory control and oversight of valuable assets, like the missing containers. Without rigorous tracking systems and accountability measures, it becomes incredibly difficult to monitor the movement of goods, leaving the door open for theft and misappropriation. This alleged mismanagement, coupled with the procurement irregularities, has led many to believe that the ECG was not simply negligent, but may have been complicit in the disappearance of the containers. The allegations of mismanagement and procurement irregularities strike at the core of Ghana's energy sector. They erode public trust and confidence in the institutions tasked with providing essential services. The potential damage extends far beyond the immediate financial implications of the missing containers. It undermines the integrity of Ghana's infrastructure and its ability to attract foreign investment and partnerships crucial for its development. Addressing these allegations head-on through a transparent and thorough investigation is paramount to restoring faith in Ghana's commitment to good governance and accountability. The allegations surrounding the missing ECG containers have spurred a comprehensive investigation, and the findings thus far paint a damning picture, revealing a complex web of suspicious transactions and potential criminal activity. The investigative report, though yet to be publicly released in its entirety, is said to contain detailed information about financial irregularities, shell companies, and potentially forged documents, all pointing towards a deliberate and coordinated effort to defraud the ECG and the Ghanaian people. Central to the investigation are a series of suspicious financial transactions that have raised red flags. Investigators have uncovered a trail of money allegedly linked to the missing containers, flowing through various bank accounts, some of which are registered to dubious shell companies. These shell companies, often set up with the sole purpose of concealing the true beneficiaries of financial transactions, are a common tool used in money laundering and other financial crimes. The discovery of these suspicious transactions has intensified scrutiny on the individuals implicated in the scandal, suggesting a concerted effort to conceal the theft and launder the proceeds. Adding further intrigue to the investigation are reports of forged or manipulated documents. Investigators have reportedly uncovered discrepancies in shipping manifests, customs declarations, and other crucial paperwork. These inconsistencies suggest a deliberate attempt to create a false paper trail, obscuring the true destination of the missing containers and making it more difficult for authorities to track them down. The alleged use of forged documents points to a sophisticated operation, potentially involving individuals with inside knowledge of port operations and customs procedures. The investigative report, though still under wraps, is already sending shockwaves through Ghana. The revelations of suspicious transactions, shell companies, and forged documents point towards a calculated scheme to defraud the nation on a grand scale. As the investigation deepens and more information comes to light, the pressure for swift and decisive action against those responsible will undoubtedly intensify. The people of Ghana, already grappling with the consequences of this audacious theft, demand nothing less than full transparency and accountability from their leaders. As the investigation into the missing ECG containers deepens, a troubling question lingers in the minds of many Ghanaians. Did the government know about the alleged scheme, and if so, why didn't they act to prevent it? Allegations of government awareness and inaction have plagued the scandal from the outset, fueling public anger and distrust. Critics argue that the sheer scale of the alleged theft, involving over 1,300 containers, suggests that it could not have occurred without some degree of complicity or, at the very least, negligence at higher levels of government. Whispers of a potential cover-up have begun to circulate, with some alleging that influential individuals within the government may have been aware of the scheme and turned a blind eye, potentially benefiting from the stolen goods or protecting those involved. These allegations, while yet to be substantiated, have nevertheless cast a long shadow over the government's handling of the situation. The lack of transparency surrounding the investigation, particularly the delayed release of the full investigative report, has done little to quell these suspicions. Adding fuel to the fire are reports that whistleblowers may have attempted to raise concerns about irregularities within the ECG long before the scandal broke, only to be ignored or silenced. If true, these allegations paint a disturbing picture of an environment where corruption is allowed to flourish, and those who dare to speak out are met with indifference or worse. The government's response to these allegations has been met with skepticism by many, further eroding public trust. The allegations of government awareness and inaction strike at the heart of Ghana's democracy, threatening to undermine the very principles of transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. Addressing these concerns head-on is crucial for the government to regain public trust and demonstrate its commitment to rooting out corruption at all levels. The people of Ghana deserve answers, and those responsible for this egregious act of theft, whether directly or through their inaction, must be held accountable.